In a matter of 10 days, the world has drastically changed. 10 days ago, our country was moving along, business as usual, and worry-free. Today, we are in the midst of a national emergency and a global pandemic. 10 days ago, I was flying back home from Reno, Nevada after speaking at a conference. Today, the next 2 months of my speaking engagements have been canceled, and I'm self-quarantined at home in Los Angeles. 10 days ago, I was talking to my parents about getting outside of the house and enjoying the outdoors more. Today, I am on the phone with them, convincing them to stay in because I'm afraid of losing them in the midst of this virus. Today, I got off the phone with my father where he was telling me there's a mass grave in Iran, and I can hear him holding in his tears. 10 days ago, we were all excited about what 2020 had in store for us. And today, we are full of uncertainty and fear and worry and panic. And there are questions that we're asking. How did we get here? How do we make it through this? And what's on the other end of this crisis? I've been doing a lot of thinking, I've been doing a lot of praying, I've been doing a lot of sifting through my emotions, attempting to find some sort of clarity in the midst of this catastrophe. A story in my life when I was 15 years old brought me a little bit of hope. It was the time that I went camping for the first time. Now, for those of you that know me, that follow me, you know that I'm an inner city kid. I'm born and raised in Humboldt Park, Chicago, and even in the midst of this, I have to represent my city. I have to represent where I'm from. There was a local spiritual leader at the time. His name was Father Peter. He invited myself and 9 other kids from the inner city of Chicago, from Humboldt Park, to join him on this interesting adventure to Vail, Colorado. None of us had ever been there before. None of us had ever been out the hood before, let alone, outside of our state. And each of us that got the invite, we were super excited. We all want to go, but there was a sense of uncertainty of like, what's ahead? What are we in store for? I remember arriving in Vail just in absolute awe of the mountain we were about to climb. That's right, we were about to climb a damn mountain. And so we heard word that we were about to backpack, pitch tents, use the bathroom outside for about 4 or 5 days, both number 1 and number 2, which we were not excited about. On the first day of our journey, our tour guides gave us some tips, some instructions, and the one that stood out was that we all had 1 roll of toilet paper. There was 12 of us, including Father Peter, and they basically said that if we run out of this roll of toilet paper, we're gonna have to find smooth sticks, stones, and pine cones and use that. So you could imagine that all of us were clinging to this 1 roll of toilet paper that we had, and we got really good at maximizing every little tiny sheet of this toilet paper. In other words, I'm kind of built for this moment that we're in right now. And day 1 was not easy. We carried 60-pound backpacks in the sweltering heat. Our body was not ready for this punishment. This tiny little voice crept up inside of me, and it was like, how in the world did we get here? Like, what did we get ourselves into? And day 2 arrives. I remember at the tail end of day 2, I was experiencing homesickness. And then we went to go to sleep, and we could hear coyotes howling in the middle of the night. And so you best believe that tiny little voice got bigger, and it started screaming, like, we need to go back home now. This is not the trip for us. And a part of me was like, I just miss my mama. I want to go back home and hug my mama. Day 3, and you guessed it, we ran out of toilet paper. And the red light inside of me is blinking. Nope, abort ship. Go back home. And I remember going straight to Father Peter and letting him know, yo, we can't take this anymore. Literally, we were crying. We were like yelling at him, shouting. We did not want to continue on this journey. And I remember Father Peter just kind of like fielding all of our worries and all of our fears. And he just waited, and he gently took us to the side. and he gave us this little talk. And he says, look, I understand how you guys are feeling. And I understand if you want to stop. I understand if you want to go back. And he said, we can do that if you really want, but I brought you out here for a reason. He said, I knew this wasn't going to be easy. I knew this was going to test you. This climb to the top was going to help you become leaders. I knew it was going to help you grow. And I remember he pointed to the top of the mountain and he said, it's beautiful up there. And if you guys keep going, you can get a taste of that. If you keep going, you can show yourself that you can make it through anything. And then he paused and he had this little sage look in his eyes. And he says, so what do you think, guys? Do you want to see what it's like up there? And that is the question that I have for us today. Because I don't know how we got here, but what I do know is how we show up during this time determines what we experience on the other end. It determines whether or not we experience the mountaintop. And I think it's a perfect metaphor because we are in a treacherous terrain right now with so much uncertainty, so many questions. But how we deal with each other, how we treat this moment in human history will determine whether or not we experience that mountaintop. So what do you want to do, guys? Do you want to see what it's like up there? You see, back in Colorado, me and my ragtag group of friends from the inner city of Chicago, we chose the mountaintop. We chose to push through the comfortable feelings of, let's just go back home. We chose to experience something bigger than our everyday mundane lives. And I remember standing at the top of the mountain, just taking it all in, because I'd never been to the top of a mountain before. And that vantage point, looking at the clouds, looking at the sun, looking at the crystal blue sky, looking at life down below, it just struck me as something majestic. I remember standing at the top like, yo, we made it. Like, we're really here. We carried those heavy backpacks the whole way. We defeated a couple coyotes. We only had to wipe our butts with stones a couple times. And we proved that we have what it takes to do this. As I record this message today, I know we're in the thick of it. And I'm not sure how long our climb will be. I'm not sure how much pain we'll have to endure. There's not much I'm really sure about. But what I am sure of is that there is a mountaintop at the end of this thing. We just have to keep moving forward. And how we choose to move right now, today, is of the utmost importance. Because if we move with compassion, we're only buying what we need along the trail. If we move with creativity, we're inventing new ways to help in times of need. If we move with solidarity, our choice to self-quarantine will literally save millions of lives across the globe. If we are moving with kindness, we are helping the sick and elderly who cannot and should not leave their homes. And if we move with joy, the songs we sing, the plays we write, the dances we dance will bring inspiration and beauty to everyone across the globe. If we move with leadership, we won't just use this time to binge watch our favorite TV shows. We will use this time to serve one another in our time of greatest need. And if we do all this today, if we move with purpose, when it's over, our mountaintop experience can be the better world that both you and I have longed for. So, my brothers and sisters, as I share this with you today, my heart is full of hope. My heart is full of love. I am rooted in the beauty of where I know we are going. So what do you want to do? Do you want to see what it's like up there?